Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining our second session in this morning. We are thrilled to have also guests. If I mispronounce your name, please let me know immediately because I would not want that for the rest of the session. Miss Kathy Pradeep.
You've got it. Thank you.
Oh, beautiful. And Miss Stacy St. Rose.
Perfect.
Beautiful. Okay. They're the Associate Directors of Admissions and Financial Aid, and we are so thrilled to have you. Welcome to InAmerica.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you so much. Yeah. My name is Lilias Kim. I will be your moderator for this event. Briefly, I didn't even get to introduce myself to the parents or the clients. My name is Lilias Kim, and I'm an associate admissions consultant here at InAmerica Education. To very briefly talk about myself and then quickly move on to Spence. I graduated Groton School in 2019. It's a boarding school in Massachusetts, and had a wonderful time there. And that kind of led me to explore more of the United States as an immigrant myself. Went down to Georgia for Emory University, majored in history and economics. And now I find myself back in the Northeast, engaging with international families. And that makes me so happy to be in education right now, especially. And I'm thrilled to kind of pass the mic on to our special guest today and to talk about more about Spence.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm going to share my screen, or will you show the video for us? The slideshow for us, rather.
I believe you have the screen sharing ability.
Okay.
If that works.
So while we get the slides up and running, it really is such a pleasure to have the opportunity to meet many of you, and certainly InAmerica has come to visit Spence and has some familiarity with our school and would be able to answer any questions that you might have moving forward. And also know that you can always reach out to our admissions office, and we will share that address with you toward the end of our presentation. So here we go.
Great. Thanks so much, Kathy. Again, my name is Stacy St. Rose, Associate Director of Admissions and Financial Aid here at the Spence School. Spence is a K-12 all-girls preparatory school located on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. Founded in 1892 by Clara Spence. The school is just, it's a fantastic opportunity for young women. It has a mission that has really lasted in perpetuity. And I'm going to read that mission for you now. Our mission: with a commitment to academic excellence and personal integrity, the Spence School prepares a diverse community of girls and young women with a lifelong transformation of self and the world with purpose, passion, and perspective. Again, it's really amazing for us that that mission is as relevant today as it was when it was written in 1892. Our K-12 experience is a journey in which we get to see little 5-year-old girls show up at our school and really transform into young women who are global citizens and impactful community members wherever it is they may go. We encourage all of our students to really take risks and to find that purpose. And our faculty and staff, in partnership with parents, are really there to help guide these young women every step of the way. This next slide is really Spence at a glance, and we really wanted to just share with you some of the simple facts about the school. We have 772 students, and that number really spans across our 3 divisions. As you can see, in lower school, we have 272 students, middle, 232, and in upper school, 267. Our lower school, middle school, and upper school, those divisions, all wonderfully unique, are all very diverse as well. As you can see, 50% of our students identify as students of color, a fact that we are very, very proud of at the Spence School. We have a 6-to-1 student-teacher ratio, so our class size is very small. Students receive all of the really individualized attention that they need. 80% of our teachers have advanced degrees, and 38% have taught at the school for more than 10 years. And I hope you know what that means, which is teachers really do enjoy their time here. Our tenure is very, very impressive across all 3 divisions. And then we also have that diversity that we mentioned in our student population and our teacher population. Our teachers are 44% diverse here. And then those final numbers on the slide all speak to our financial aid. Our financial aid is generous. It is another fact that we are also very, very proud of. And it speaks to our commitment to diversity, equity, and belonging at the school. I think it's really evident in these statistics that we've just shared with you. We're really proud of these facts again, and that's also reflected in our board of directors. So, as you take the time to take a look at our website, you'll see our board of directors is just as diverse as the student and teacher population that I just shared with you. That diversity and really sense of belonging that we hope that each and every one of our constituents have here at Spence is also reflected in our curriculum. There's an identity curriculum that you'll find throughout every division of Spence, and it's really one to help our students identify and feel proud of their differences, family, religious, abilities, value, race, all of the things that make us all really unique and add to the beauty that we really like to refer to as a tapestry of our school. Going to move on to our next slide, and that's all about our K-12 academic program. Again, we have our little girls show up here at 5 years old, and in lower school, we really talk about the beginning of the journey. Spence K-12 really is just that. It's a journey. And it's guided by these 3 divisions. Our 3 divisions are very intentional because we want to meet our students where they are. Now, I'm going to stop for a moment because I don't know if this is a good time for you to begin your translation or if it's something you'll do on the back end. What would you like?
So most of, I think, our clients right now for Spence actually are American based.
Okay.
So I think we're okay, and I believe our meeting has automatic captions right now. So
okay,
for the
perfect.
families who are international and they just want to learn about the school, we have the automatic captions, and as technology is on our side, finally.
Perfect. I was just like, oh goodness. All right, that sounds great. Okay, so I'll continue with regard to our divisions, and I'm going to tell you more about our lower school division, and then Kathy will join us a little bit later to tell you more about the middle and upper school divisions. So in lower school, again, that's really where the journey begins. We really focus on both the social and emotional development of our students, along with, of course, our teaching and learning program. But we really want to make sure that our girls in our lower school division feel like they belong, feel like they have a sense of agency in the school, and that they're happy to come to school every day. And we see that in our students. There's lots of learning by doing. It's active, it's inquiry-based. We want our students asking questions and doing all day long, not just sitting and being sort of docile. We want them connecting new ideas and becoming problem solvers and abstract thinkers as they sort of move along in that our lower school is K-4. So in those 5 years, all of these skills are being developed for them. And all along, while they're working on those academic pieces, they're honing their sense of self, right? Because that's really important, particularly as they move along into middle and upper school. There's lots of space for them for inquiry and exploration and really creative thought. And again, they're creating a second home for themselves at Spence where they can be expressive. And we know, studies show that students learn best when they feel comfortable and they're able to be their authentic selves in their school environment. And that's something that we truly do try to create for our students. So again, our community of learners, This slide is really just about what we try to cultivate for our students again. Discovery, autonomy in their learning, and really this idea that anything is possible for them. Learning goes hand in hand with possibility. And being a Spence student really means that you're an essential part of a celebrated community. And our students feel that in our learning. They know that they're a part of something greater than just themselves, and that so much is possible for them as a Spence students. We value all of our students, their wide range of interests, and we really do push them to work hard toward their natural potential. We also encourage this idea of working together. It's actually a skill collaboration, and it's something that we start with very, very early on. It's not a competition. We want you to be your best self. We want you to take risks and feel comfortable doing that in your environment. And that's something that we really do encourage at the Spence School. And then, of course, there's teaching. The teachers here at Spence, we talked about them early on and the amount of time that they spend here. It really is amazing how much our teachers collaborate and what they do to create academic success in our students. Our pillars really do sort of ground our teaching and learning experience, this academic success again, the supporting productive struggle. We don't want everything to come easy to our students. They're bright young women, and we want them to push themselves, and understand that it's okay to be comfortable with discomfort and to push yourself. And then, of course, even with the pushing, we're there with them all along. There's a scaffolding for our students made up of our teachers, faculty, staff, and parents as they continue to try to find their way. A few of our curricular highlights for lower school include in kindergarten, we do a really fun bird study where we use Central Park, which is very centrally located to the students, where they're able to sketch birds and learn about birds. There's also math in the lower school where, there's mental math being taught, and there's unlimited puzzling and whatever it is that they need to keep them really engaged again by doing and not just sitting and taking an instruction. In first grade, the students design a neighborhood to be responsive and inclusive of future residents. So we really have them thinking forward, and we really have them just considering what's going to come next, even as young as in first grade. In second grade, we have our students do a special project on New York City systems, the trash system, and really thinking about supply chain. If you could imagine second graders thinking about supply chain, but we're able to do it in a way that is actually very unique, and it's appropriate for our second grade students, which is fun. In third grade, they take a trip to Waterloo Village, where they have the opportunity to think about how the Lenape people lived very, very long ago, which is fun. And it's part of our social studies curriculum. And then in fourth grade, they become the oldest members of the lower school community. And we really have them thinking about new challenges and responsibilities as being the oldest in the division. They lead our community gatherings. They think about clear communication, being assertive, and really their autonomy as learners and parts of the Spence community. All of that really happens through an integrated learning approach. And so, we think about how do our teachers cooperate and collaborate with one another? And so in social studies, they're thinking about immigration, but they're thinking about it through dance, which is so much fun, right? And they have this opportunity to study different disciplines of dance while they're learning about different parts of the world through social studies. In music and science, sometimes we pair those two things so that, yes, we're learning about songs and, well, what's the science of that, right? How is the sound being created? Is it bouncing off of this wall? And how is it being received? In Spanish, we're not just learning Spanish words. We're thinking about Spanish culture. We're thinking about dance and music. Spanish is the one language that we teach in lower school, but Kathy will tell you a little bit more about our language programs in middle and upper school. But there's a strength in the way our teachers collaborate. It's really something very unique. It's something that we're proud of, and we think that it creates a special way of learning here for us at Spence. The pictures that you guys are looking at right now is really just some great shots of our lower school that really do sort of highlight the adventure that we find here in our lower school. Again, it's just an opportunity to see what it means to be a part of Spence, to see how they learn to contribute to the school, to their families, and to the greater world. And this is really where it all begins in our lower school. So I'm going to turn you guys over to Kathy now, who's going to tell you a little bit more about our middle and upper schools.
Thanks, Stacy. And while we have heard about an amazing foundation that our students have received in lower school, we certainly want to build on some of that foundation in the middle and upper school years. But I also want you to know that many of you may be considering entering Spence after lower school. So using Stacy's phrase that our goal is to meet students where they are and bring them to the next level. Rest assured that all students coming into middle school probably come in with some of the skills we've already described. And same with upper school. We are here, our teachers are here to support students wherever they are and to continue on this journey of lifelong learning. So in middle school, one of the highlights, and I will just be highlighting some of the features of middle and upper school, one of the new skills that we really want students to focus on is critical thinking skills. And by that, what we mean is exploring the reasons why things happen. For example, students in 6th grade are looking at the beginning of early civilizations, and they're considering the question, why were so many civilizations found in early dates to be near riverbeds? So they're not making any assumptions about the reasons behind that, but they're actually working with the librarian and the history teacher, discovering some of the maybe the artifacts that support evidence around theories about why civilizations grew up around rivers. They really are looking at ways to support their answers and doing research, collecting data, coming up with hypotheses, sharing those hypotheses with one another. So again, working in collaboration. And the important thing here is that we want students to understand that they can come up with their own ideas about why, but they also have to substantiate them. They have to really use evidence. And that is a very important skill that we focus on in the middle school. Stacy, if you can go to the next slide, I can talk a little bit about middle school experiences and both inside and outside of the classroom. So you'll see here some information, some facts and figures about opportunities for middle school experiences outside the classroom, whether it be through student clubs, athletic teams, ways in which students develop their sense of identity and their sense of belonging through affinity groups. We're really offering middle school students ways to connect with one another, ways to work with one another, and to collaborate and to really have a common goal in mind. Understanding that through these experiences, they can develop their leadership skills. I want to highlight 2 experiences that are unique to Spence's Middle School. One is the independent research, which is an elective, actually. So in addition to the core curriculum in 7th and 8th grade, if a student is particularly excited about science, she can elect to have an additional course, essentially, which will engage her along with her cohort of scientists in middle school, will allow her to engage in research. And that research will be guided by 2 members of the science department in the middle school. And it will also be an opportunity for those middle school students to connect with upper school students who are also doing independent science research. So that connection of having girls as role models, older students as role models, is really one of the major advantages of being in a girls' school, right? Anything is possible. These middle schoolers see their upper school students doing incredible work in lots of areas, science being one of them. And they see those girls as really as their mentors, recognizing that, wow, it's, first of all, it's really cool to have this interest in science, but it's also such an inspiration to see upper school students really devoting a tremendous amount of their time and their academic focus to a particular project such as science research. Another opportunity in middle school that is unique is to have the opportunity to participate in an ethics bowl. So this is something that is new to Spence and also sort of new to middle school thinking. And the ethics bowl is actually a consortium of schools, both right now in New Jersey and in New York, who come together, middle school students who come together, and they come together to really debate around issues that are relevant to today's world. And they work together to come towards a solution to an ethical question. So in this situation, students, again, are thinking critically, they're doing research around a particular topic, they're putting together an oral presentation, an oral argument. It's similar to a debate team, but it's centered around an ethical question. And of course, middle schoolers love some sort of friendly competition. And this is one way in which our students are certainly working within the Spence community, but they're also engaging with schools and students outside of Spence and all around a common interest. If we can take a look at upper school opportunities for learning and expanding their horizons, you can see that in upper school, the opportunities really do grow. In terms of curriculum, very robust course offerings for upper school students across all disciplines. And within the junior and senior level, there are 65 upper school electives. So those in many ways resemble college level courses. And the way in which they're taught is also very much in terms of preparing students for being in a college or university setting. And you see all of the other facts and figures there, but I'd like to sort of frame this around a statement that our upper school head, Dr. Flores, has made about education in general at Spence, and particularly in the upper school. And she says, a Spence education is an intellectual journey, just as Stacy began our presentation, that is engaging, powerful, and purposeful. So the next slide will just give you an example of how engaging a Spence classroom is. At Spence, discussion-based learning is the center of the learning experience for students across all disciplines. In math, our students are presenting their solutions to problems, standing up in the classroom, talking through their the work, and there's a dialogue. Another student in the math class might say, I had a different approach to that problem, and the conversation begins. Clearly in the humanities area, where we're talking about themes in literature or causes of a particular historical event, students are offering their opinions. They're offering their thoughts. They're backing up their thoughts, of course, with evidence. And they are really talking through whatever the topic may be. And in a Spence classroom, it is really, you are likely to see each and every student participate at least once, if not more than once. There is lively conversation, lively debate. Our head of school just recently remarked that she had to walk down the hallway to see what was going on in this classroom because it was so energetic and joyful. And what had happened was somebody had just had one of those aha moments in a math class. So you'll find, hopefully, if you do come to visit Spence, you'll hear this sense of joy and sense of engagement in the classroom, as well as in the hallways. So an education at Spence is engaging. It's powerful. It's powerful, and that is due to our philosophy. And our philosophy statement reads, and I believe it's depicted on the next slide, we believe in the strength, the intellect, and the vitality of women. So this is an all-girls school, as we started the presentation with, and learning in an environment with this idea at its foundation really gives girls and young women confidence. It gives them the inspiration to really pursue anything they wish to accomplish. And we also have to structure, we have to give them ways in which to pursue what they want to accomplish. And one of the unique ways that Spence does offer students the opportunity to really pursue their learning and their love of learning to a deeper level is through our 4 fellowship programs. And I encourage you to go to our website and watch the video about the Independent Science Research program to hear from students in their own voice about the value of having this opportunity. Sarah, whose quote is right here, is featured in that video. And as she says right here, this is a journey, and it's a journey where I just keep on asking new questions, looking for, new answers to really, really important questions. So Sarah was involved in one of our fellowship programs, Independent Science Research. We also have a history research, an ecology fellows project, and a art scholars. So in across those 4 disciplines, there are well over 80 students in our upper school student body engaged in this deep, deep learning. And lastly, a Spence education is purposeful. And one of the ways in which it's purposeful is our intention to create leaders. Our intention through co-curricular activities, through mentorship of younger students, as you see here, a senior is encouraging one of the youngest members of our community to speak in front of our entire school body of 740 people. So through mentorship of younger students, through internships outside of Spence, we're giving Spence students the experiences they need to learn how to lead with purpose when they leave our community. We want them to use their Spence experiences as a foundation to change the world. And that leads me to our conclusion, and that is that a Spence education is not for school, but for life. We learn. I think we can pause here and just quickly review our admissions process. It's right there in front of you on the screen. I don't know that it's necessary to actually read through all of those steps. They're pretty standard, with the exception of having our own assessment tests in English and math for grades 6, 7, and 9. And there certainly is an opportunity to send questions our way to us at admissions@spence.school.org. And lastly, we have a slide that will give you an idea of events that are coming up, the first of which is virtual, and then 2 in-person open houses. And all of these dates are also on our website. And I'm wondering, do we have time for questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you so much for
Sure.
coming here and spending your morning with us and providing such wonderful information. I actually attended a girls' school myself for pre-K to 6th grade, and everything you said, I mean, although it unfortunately wasn't Spence, I was living in Canada at the time, but I still think it was such a valuable experience to attend a school where everything you did, you felt like you were empowered, you were encouraged. There was no limitation to what you could and could not do. And you were with your friends, you were with, older girls, and the faculty were your moms and your aunts and your sisters. And I love it. I love seeing environments like this and learning environments, particularly for the next generation of young women. And it clearly sounds like Spence is such an empowering environment and community.
Yeah. So shall we take questions from the chat?
Absolutely. So we will start off in the beginning. I think a parent asked, what are the advantages of an all-girls school compared to a co-ed school? I think we may have just answered that.
Yeah.
But if you would like to add on to anything.
So I think this notion that anything is possible, and I'm going to rely on what our students say, and that is that they just feel no inhibition. Those students who have experienced a co-ed environment and come to Spence say that in certain circumstances, certain settings, I'm speaking from as a student's voice, I held back. I may have known the answer, but I just didn't put myself forward. And often students will say, I feel absolutely as though I can and should participate fully in the life of the school. I mean,
Yeah,
all of the
I'll
roles
add to
are
that.
filled by, yeah.
I'm sorry, Kath. Yeah, I'll
No, go
add
ahead.
to that. Really just dispelling what many people, not many, but people tend to believe about an all-girls environment. Sometimes people will think, well, that's not the real world. And how is that really going to translate once my daughter leaves your school? She won't be able to manage. And it's really the exact opposite. We hear time and again from our graduates that when they show up in college or they show up in their workplace, their ability to engage, to speak up, to raise their hand is oftentimes really does far outweigh that of other young women that they encounter who did not attend girls' schools. It really does give you a power. It gives you the poise and the confidence to put yourself out there. And it's something that happens right here with all girls. And there's a variety of young women here, the same variety of students that you would find in a co-ed environment. You have young women who love sports, who love art, who all sorts of things. So it really is, it is not a bubble. It is a real world experience, and it is one that translates seamlessly to co-ed environments at the college level and beyond.
Another parent asked, how can prospective students arrange a visit to your school or get in touch with current students, or I guess learning about the school environment for parents as well and alumni?
Sure. So I would encourage you to sign up for a tour and an interview, and you would initiate that process by filling out an inquiry form on our website. And from there, you'll have the option of arranging an in-person tour and an interview. Attending one of the events that we offer in person is a great way to have even deeper exchanges with students. Anything to add to that, Stace?
Yeah, I would just say definitely spend time on our website. It's one that is filled with the voice of our student. I think it really does give you a great sort of bird's eye view into the life of our school and what it feels to be like a part of us on a daily basis. So definitely take a look there as well. All of the opportunities that Kathy mentioned are listed there on under the admissions page on the site.
I think there was also a question about, I think in terms of the K program, I think the parent asked, what is like the age range for the K program, but that's a very specific question. I don't know if you wanted to answer that, right? If you could, yeah.
Sure.
So by age, I mean, typically our students come in, they're 5 years old, right? The birthday
Right.
cutoff, I believe, is August 30th for K. And so you'll see a range of student ages there, but 5 years old cutoff by August 30th birth date is basically where we begin kindergarten.
Beautiful.
And within that kindergarten class, there will definitely be, close to a
range.
year span. So we will have students who have just turned 5, and we'll have students who are turning, are turning 6 quite soon. So there is quite a range within the class. And if you apply to Spence after kindergarten, that cutoff date does not apply. So when we have a lot of middle school applicants who have come to us from other either public school or schools where they don't have the same cutoff, and so the age range then is greater within each grade.
And I would just
Awesome.
add that, as it relates to that range, particularly in kindergarten, I know that parents can sometimes feel uneasy about having a child who's on the younger side or what have you. And we've seen it all work out by sooner rather than later. Nobody remembers who was young and who was old. Our students are all moving along at their pace. We're meeting them where they are. And the curriculum really is one that speaks to that full range that Kathy described.
Great. So another question, I think I'm going to group the next, I think a question from Zach and Noah. It's more about, how does Spence support students, develop interests, and if they have existing interests and hobbies, what does the extracurricular kind of program look like? How can families get involved as well? Maybe another kind of addendum question after that.
So starting in lower school, in terms of interest in extracurricular, we have a very robust program called Second Act. And so our Second Act offers over, I think it's over 30 options for students. They're little, right? And so we really want to give them a full complement of experiences because they're just trying to figure out at that point what they like. And so there are things that they can try that include, there's chess, there's musical theater, there's taekwondo, stop motion animation, art classes, multi-sport classes, all available right after school here at Spence. So the really great part is that they would transition if they choose to stay for our Second Act right from the end of their school day, right here at Spence, to be able to try all of these different opportunities. And that moves on into middle school with all of the clubs and activities that Kathy described during the presentation, where they're still trying to figure it out. They start to join teams. There are more organized practices, and it continues through upper school where those team sports expand and the clubs expand. And I can't, and Kathy, you can tell me if you feel differently. I can't imagine that there is not something here for everyone. I think everyone finds something that they can dial into, and the school is very supportive of that. That's part of that passion that we've described. And the thing that I love about our students here is that we're not asking them to have a single passion. We're not saying that you have to choose and that's the only thing you can do. We'd love to see that exploration. And as it changes, as the student grows and changes, we grow and change with them and continue to support them with that scaffolding that we described a little earlier on.
Yeah, I see there's a specific question about starting a new club, which is entirely possible both in middle and in upper school. We ask our students to, who have an interest in starting something new, to write a proposal, to enlist a few other students who might be interested in joining them in this interest, to ask a faculty member to advise that particular club. And then it's essentially reviewed by the assistant to head to the middle school. And I can't think of a proposal that has not been accepted because the students are, they're doing their research. And the same is true in upper school. It's a little less rigid, I would say, in upper school, just in terms of I mean, they still have the same supervision and they have the same interest, but we want those middle schoolers to really think about how they're going to make this change. And so I can think of a couple of new clubs in middle school centering. One of my favorites is the Kindness Club. So we want our students to understand that they are part of a community. So they actually decided they wanted to form a club in which they would do acts of community service, kind of small acts of community service. In other words, in an afternoon, we can help with all of the composting in the school. And so they're doing really service-related activities that they consider will also improve the overall life of our community. So Clara's Kindness Club is one of my favorite new middle school.
And there are lots of fun ones. I know that this year there's some additional ones. There's a new STEP club. We have some new affinity spaces this year. There's a television club, which is sort of come to be in support of the writer's strike, where they're watching shows, they're writing about them. It really does serve to the interests of any student here. We really want to give them the opportunity, and they often find that if they have that interest, there are a few more people who have it as well, and they're able to have some fun in those spaces together.
And there's a question about developing those interests, and I think Stacy spoke to that. Start broad, and then as they get older, they narrow them down. Not too narrow, though. I must say that our upper schools have a full plate, and they're inspired by others. That is clearly a value of being in a girls' school. They see all the girls are doing robotics, all of the girls are doing science research, all of the girls are team captains. Those are their role models, and that is an inspiration. Significant value of being in an all-girls school is that you are surrounded by women leaders, and you're also learning about women leaders in different areas outside of Spence.
Well, thank you so much, Kathy and Stacy, for joining us this morning and to talk and have an insightful conversation about Spence School. It's been a privilege to have you both. The Spence School is an ideal and such an empowering environment, as we just talked about, for young women. And so if you have any other questions, unfortunately, we don't have more time to go over more of them, but please send your questions to admissions@spence.org. If you have questions for us at InAmerica, there is the information email in the chat, and we'll send it again. But otherwise, we will start again in 10 minutes. But thank you, Kathy and Stacy, again.
Yeah, goodbye for now. Hope to be in touch.
Good. We'll see you on campus.
Yeah. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.